is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. We got Al, we got Jeff, we got Tori, and we have the beautiful Lindsay joining us for home.
Lindsay.
How you doing, Linz?
Hey guys, what's going on? Al, it snowed again. I was supposed to come over and get a table from Al, but it's not happening because the snow is ruining my life.
No, I was just happy that you could use it.
That's so nice. You guys are sharing like furniture and stuff. Oh, that's cute. Jeff, you have like a stool or anything I could? All right. We do have an update to a story we talked about yesterday. Spotify, yes, chose to keep Joe Rogan's podcast after Neil Young gave them an ultimatum. Neil Young's music, including his hit Harvest Moon, are off the world #1 streaming platform. Neil asked Spotify to remove his content because he said Joe Rogan's podcast was, quote, spreading fake information about vaccines, potentially causing death to those who believe this disinformation. In a statement, Spotify said, "We want all the world's music and audio content to be available to Spotify users. With that comes great responsibility in balancing both safety for listeners and freedom for creators." Thoughts, gentlemen?
First of all, like I said yesterday, I'll kick this thing off. I didn't think Neil Young was going to win this battle. Again, I said yesterday, I like Neil Young songs, not all of them. I like Joe Rogan songs, quote unquote, not all of them, right? So it doesn't make me hate Neil Young or dislike him anymore. Harvest Moon is one of my all-time favorite songs. If you ever just sit on your patio, listen to Harvest Moon with a cool glass of iced tea, whatever.
At dusk.
It's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. So like I said, I didn't think he was going to win this battle. I don't know people that go to Spotify to listen to Neil Young. I know people go to Spotify to listen to Joe Rogan. You could find Neil Young anywhere. I don't think he was worried about the monetary decline of this. His career is set already. He's already a legend. So I don't think he cared about that. He was trying to make a point here. And again, I think, like I said yesterday, I think people go to Joe Rogan just to hear a different point of view. And I think that's what Joe Rogan brings.
That's fair. Now, Lindsay, I have to ask you, who do you think makes this decision? This is misinformation, this isn't. Who is that person, may I ask, in addition to what you feel about this story?
Well, I'm sure somebody who runs Spotify at the highest level understands what they're doing. They paid Joe Rogan $100 million. And so I had to think about, if you are paying someone $100 million, what are you making from that person? And so even though Spotify doesn't release their numbers, you have to think that number is extremely high. So you have to wonder if they are, when they had him exclusively, they had 2.6 million or something viewers just in those couple of months when they only could have his podcast exclusively in the beginning. And then he left, I know, came back. But Joe Rogan, they obviously showed their hand that he is the one they're going to back, and he's the most popular show for a couple of years now in podcast universe. So I just feel like they're not letting anything come between it, because this is not the first complaint against Joe Rogan. A lot of different communities, his guests or himself, have offended, and we're going to talk about that in the next story. But obviously Spotify is doubling down, like, this is worth the entertainment dollars. But I always think it's up to us to discern where we're getting our news from or information that we're taking seriously. And Joe Rogan is a UFC fighter, and we have to remember that. He never claimed to be a lawyer, anybody who's worth listening to for newsworthy information. I know he gets on that podcast and gets like esoteric and tries to find the deeper meaning of things, but that doesn't mean that he knows what he's talking about, nor does his guest.
Well said. Well said. Write us in on YouTube if you have another opinion. Let us know. Speaking of Joe Rogan, though, he's coming under fire for another recent podcast of his where he shared a very controversial take on the term black. Here's what Rogan had to say.
The black and white thing is so strange because
like
the shades are so
tan and brown.
There's such a spectrum of shades of people. Unless you're talking to someone who is like 100% African from the darkest place where they're not wearing any clothes all day and they've developed all that melanin to protect themselves from the sun. Even the term black is weird. And when you use it for people that are literally my color, it becomes very strange.
Al?
My grandmother was his color, and she was born in Mississippi in the 1930s. Do you think she had a black experience? I would guess that she did.
Would guess that.
Maybe she should have played word games about like actually what color she is and what does tan mean. It just really seemed to me, because I listened to, I made a promise in 2022, Linz, that I was not going to comment about clips. I was going to try and listen to everything in its totality. I listened to most of this Joe Rogan podcast as much as I could get through at 2 times the speed. It's as somebody that has been listening to podcasts and makes podcasts, to me, it was unlistenable. Wow. The word salad, there was nothing to grasp onto there. I thought it was strange. I thought it sounded like two men that didn't know what they were talking about, so they were just using a lot of words. And that conversation about like, well, the black experience is about your skin color, rather than having the difficult conversation about what it means to be black in this country, what civil rights means, where we are, where we're going, an interesting, nuanced conversation. We go, well, Al's not black, he's more like chocolate mocha, so what is he, what are we talking about? It's like what we should be, if we're making crayon colors or something. It's a ridiculous conversation, and I almost don't want to give it breath, but we have to, Lindsay, because he's the most popular podcaster in the world right now.
As Lindsay said, what do you think, Lindsay, when you heard this?
I mean, that was like the level of racist was like, I mean, talking about the darkest colors and like, you know, Trevor Noah had an interesting take last night where he was talking about like, what are you saying? Somebody can't have the black experience unless they are the color of a Sharpie. Like, and then he started joking about what Al's talking about, okay, so what color would I be? Like freaking Frappuccino color? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And right, and so when he's saying that, it's like, how can you wax poetic as a white man about what the black experience is in this country, especially when white people are the ones that made up the term black? Like African people and people who came here through slavery have different tribes, like Trevor Noah explained, that they were from and came here against their will, and then they were coined black because that was the term, the idiotic term at the time, to just describe one group of people. And even though we took that term and have found different meanings for it and navigated our life in this country, and we're still trying to find ways to be treated equally, for him to say that Michael Eric Dyson isn't black based on his skin tone, when Michael Eric Dyson is, you know, one of the people on the forefront publicly fighting for black causes and things like that, it just is obnoxious. And you know, it's one of those things again why I would say he's not any news source or somebody that I would listen to take real information from, because I think the conversation is that they were trying to act enlightened, and that statement for somebody who doesn't know any research or any history might say, oh my gosh, you have a point. Somebody is actually not the color black as we see it in the crayon box. But if you don't know anything about this country's history, you know, that statement makes little to no sense at all. And you know, listening to it coming from a white man is the most disturbing part out of the whole thing, because it's like, how dare you speak? It's like me speaking about any other community I'm not a part of in that way, with little to no regard, and almost making a joke out of it.
I agree. We actually have that clip that Lindsay's talking about. Let's go right to it. Trevor Noah on The Daily Show.
I'm not black. I'm not black. Joe Rogan's right. I'm like a caramel mocha frappuccino. This changes everything. This changes everything. The police said I'm black.
I mean, that's a comic. That's a perfect parody, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't seen that. But you know, the sadder thing is I tried to, like I said, I really did try and get through this. I tried to listen to it. And what I heard was just two men talking about things that they didn't understand or know about. And it's like, I think that's where a lot of times we get the, oh, I guess because I'm a man, I guess because I'm a white man, I can't discuss things. It would be no different than me taking this time on DBL to discuss how to rebuild your transmission. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I could, and when I'm called on it, I could say, oh, a black man can't talk about automotive things. I don't know what I'm talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about, so it devolves into the most simplistic conversation about color rather than about culture. Black and white doesn't mean, I've been to Europe 24 times. They don't talk about white guys over there. They don't talk about black guys. They talk about Africans. They talk about Englishmen. Oh, two German guys walked in the bar and they had something to say to these two Irish guys. They don't say two white guys. That's an American concept because you needed something to balance out the black. You needed a them and an us. And so like when we talk about this, if you're not ready to have that conversation, Joe, and listening to that conversation, it appears that he's not, just don't have it. It would be, I would really respect if he said, I'm not ready to go here. I'm learning to say that. It's okay to not know what you're talking about. It's okay.
Amen. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
All right, so Al, fantastic points as always. Lindsay as well. And we were just saying, this doesn't mean anything, but Joe Rogan is not a UFC fighter. He's a commentator, just to clear things up. That wasn't a very big deal.
And a comic and the host of Fear Factor.
Right. So Yes. So Al, the question I want to ask you is, I listen to Joe Rogan. Again, I have discernment. I listen to Sammy DeBol Gravano's podcast on the way in here. Yeah. It doesn't mean I'm starting my own crew. You know what I mean? So my question to Al would be, what do you think he's going to say like to his friends? He's great friends. He goes on tour with David Chappelle. He's got a very diverse group of friends. What do you think he's going to say to his friends or vice versa?
I would hope that he has
a friend.
You know what? I have a lot of friends that have just pulled me aside and just been like, here's what, perfect example. And I wish I had time to talk about this. I had
Make sure
hired,
you're covering your thing back here too.
Thanks.
I have to go through this. Hold on.
I had hired
this is a great conversation.
A young woman to do some work for me.
It's tough now.
Thank you. I had hired a young woman to do some work for me, and she got a job somewhere else. And so when I was
Could you tie that without a mirror?
Yeah. I went to private school for a year.
He's having a deep conversation.
I know. And when she went on to her new job, I sent her like a pretty long text, and it was just like, "Hey, you got this, and like you make sure that you know no one tries to short you for anything. You have a lot of talent. I expect big things from you." And my girl was like, "I appreciate what you're trying to do, but she didn't need to hear that from a dude. She doesn't need another man telling her you got this."
She can do it, right?
Yeah, and I was trying to do the right thing,
but you realize,
it's like this is. Even when you're trying to do the right thing,
think about it.
You're not. Sometimes you might miss.
Yeah.
And I was trying to build her up, but I'm sure she got that text like, I'm a grown woman.
That's when a man goes like this to me: "Smile, you'll be cuter." And I go, "I wasn't asking you."
I think this looks worse.
This looks way worse. If you were watching the break, we just did a fashion show with Jeff and I helping to dress Al, as you say. And speaking of that, Kanye West is launching his own new fashion line with a twist. The rapper is collaborating with Skid Row Fashion Week to create a line of clothing that will be modeled on the runway by people experiencing homelessness. 100% of the proceeds will go to helping people who are struggling with homelessness. Now, the new fashion line will drop February 22nd. My first instinct was Zoolander, when Mugatu, who is played by Will Ferrell, has a whole line for homeless people, and it's just homeless people walking, and that was a parody. So to me, this feels really exploitative and awkward and weird. Lindsay, am I wrong?
My first initial thought at the headline was like, oh man, Kanye, please.
Yeah.
Please. But when I read that the factory that makes the clothes actually employs homeless people, and that 100% of the proceeds are not like some of the proceeds that leaves this vague term that could be like 10% or 1%. They said 100%. I was like, okay, homeless people are still people, and Skid Row, obviously, it's a big issue in Los Angeles. And I don't think it's that a bad idea. I think Kanye is ridiculous on most fronts. But in this case, I was like, wow, I think that this gives some homeless people a sense of purpose, hopefully, and will help them on the road to figuring out how to get their life back on track.
Al's nodding. What do you think, Al?
I agree. I mean, and I want to hear from Jeff on this, but I do remember the last Kanye story that we covered when it was a little bit of a bizarre thing he said about Kim, but I remember at that situation as well, he was at a homeless food shelter, and the mic he handed it to was the gentleman that was cooking that day. So it's like the last couple of times we've seen him, he has been in the homeless community, and it does seem like at least he's trying, Jeff.
Listen, I was going to give props to Kanye. I kind of disagree. He's trying, right? His last idea was like kind of those igloo type things or whatever they were from Star Wars, that he wanted homes for the homeless. And he's thinking outside the box, and he's trying something, right? And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I did this thing where I went to Ethiopia, and in their capital, Addis Ababa, there's 150,000 prostitutes. And I met with this woman who gets with 100 of those women and gives them jobs, whether it's cooking or seamstress, and she gives them a craft, right? Where they could earn a living and get themselves off the streets. 100 people out of 150,000 people isn't a big dent, but that woman's doing something. And we went there to do a story specifically on her. I think Kanye deserves props. all the craziness and, put that aside, he's trying. He's putting himself out there, and even if it's a couple people, he's trying, and that's better than lip service, in my opinion.
I appreciate that, and I'm kind of malleable on this one, so you guys really did change my mind on that. Interesting. Coming up on DBL, our hilarious interview with comedian Brad Williams.
Man.
What does he have to say about the controversy surrounding the Snow White remake? Stay tuned.
Video, a man says he is the father of a child who has leukemia, and he claims Ronald McDonald House will evict him and anyone older than 5 who's not vaccinated.
Anybody older than 5 who's not vaccinated is getting evicted from Ronald McDonald House. So I'm just gonna go talk to people at the counter and see if it's legit or not.
So let's verify. What is the Ronald McDonald House Charities' position on vaccination mandates? Our sources are the Ronald McDonald House Charities and the Greater Washington Chapter. The charity's global position on vaccine mandates is posted online, and they say, quote, they will continue to provide program standards and guidance to local chapters and to follow, quote, the known measures that help prevent the spread of the coronavirus, including vaccinations and boosters, testing, masks, etc. The charity says because each chapter faces different circumstances, including vaccine availability and access, it is a local chapter decision whether or not to mandate vaccinations of Ronald McDonald House guest families. Here in our area, the Ronald McDonald House of Greater Washington says it's not requiring COVID-19 vaccinations or boosters for its guest families, but requires proof of a negative PCR test for each family member over the age of 5 before checking in. If the family has limited access to testing services, they will work with them to provide resources so they can adhere to this requirement. So we can verify, it's up to each individual Ronald McDonald House whether or not they have a vaccine mandate in place.
Don't miss a day of DBL. Bold debates.
I'm sick of having to walk this line for everything to have two sides.
But then where do we go?
Hot celebs.
On a scale from 1 to 5, how crazy do you think we are? 5.
We're like this all the time.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
And all the laughs.
I don't know about that.
LOL.
Seriously.
DBL is always all new every day. Welcome back to DBL. We've been talking a lot about Disney's live-action remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Peter Dinklage called the story itself problematic, questioning why Disney was redoing it. Well, meantime, Disney said it was taking a different approach to avoid stereotypes and is working with members of the dwarfism community. Earlier, we spoke, it was an amazing conversation with comedian and Al's homie, actor Brad Williams, to get his take. Take a look.
We are joined by comedian and actor Brad Williams and friend of Al Jackson's. Welcome to DBL.
My man.
Thank you so much for having me. I love the fact that Disney is working with members of the dwarfism community. I didn't know we had a community. I haven't been invited to the meetings. I don't know who our dwarf version of Al Sharpton is. I'm not quite sure. As long as there's not a podium, we're okay. Dwarfs don't do well with podium.
Too funny. So you never got the memo. But let me ask you this. Did you think what Peter Dinklage said, like, did you agree with him? And then I also want to know, because I'm just curious, did you personally find the original Snow White offensive?
It's weird. What Dinklage said is essentially true. I do agree with him in that the original story was problematic. It may not have intended to be, but because little people don't have a lot of representation in the media, and this was kind of the first, that kind of set the stage, and it kind of set the stereotypes for all dwarves. Now, when I tell people, oh, I'm a dwarf, they go, oh, no, you're not. That's just a fairy tale. And it's like, I think I have a little more insight. People think that dwarfism in itself is a fairy tale, that maybe we all live together in a cottage, we're all old, we all have names that correspond with emotion, and we carry pickaxes to work, which I've done comedy in some really bad neighborhoods, still never carried a pickaxe to work. So what he said was essentially true, but I also don't want to take work away from little people that get jobs, because there's not that many. And I get it that when dwarf actors are trying to get something, when a new Snow White movie comes out, we all go cha-ching, like, finally. It's something that we know that we can be cast in. So I completely understand both sides of the story. I wasn't necessarily offended by the original movie. It just kind of set the wrong tone for how people view and look at little people. So if Disney comes out and they reimagine the dwarf's role in the film, I think it's great.
I think that's amazing. But what do you say to people who don't want to mess with the classics, right? Disney shouldn't change a thing, and they love the story the way it is. What would you say to those people?
I would say that if they want to watch the classic, it's still there. It's on Disney Plus. You can watch it. I mean, we have a new Batman every 15 seconds, and we don't all get all up in arms about how we reimagine Batman. We have a black Spider-Man. Great, that's awesome. I think there's plenty of room for all of these stories, and so everyone can have kind of their version and the one that they like the best. And just because they make a new version, that doesn't mean the older version is no longer available. You can still fire up the Disney Plus. You can watch the old Snow White. If you want to see people that kind of look like me but with gray beards yell out, "Hi-ho!" That's fine. It's still available to you.
Who doesn't want to see that?
So you can enjoy that. We'll enjoy the new movie, and we'll all have a good time with it.
Thank you so much, Brad.
And if you get a chance to see Brad anywhere in the country, one of the funniest human beings comedians alive, go see him.
Yeah, in fact, I'm gonna, if the prompter will scroll up, I'll give yes, BradWilliamsComedy.com, as simple as that, to find out when he will be in your town. Brad, we appreciate your insight, your humor, all of it.
We need you in studio next time you're in Denver, brother.
Next time you're in Denver, you gotta come in.
Thank you guys also very much, and Al Jackson is the absolute best. Love him.
Hey, man, love you, brother.
Yep.
See you soon.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
If you're one of many experiencing anosmia or the loss of taste and smell from COVID, then you know how bothersome it can be. There is something called smell training you may have heard about, where you smell different scents daily for a period of time. Sure, it sounds silly, but does it work? Well, let's verify. Can smell training help bring back one's smell and taste from COVID? The experts we spoke with include Dr. Michelle Longo. She's a director of Tulane's Neurology Long COVID Clinic. We also spoke with Dr. Stephen Hernandez. He's with LSU Health's otolaryngology head and neck surgery. First, let's break down why COVID causes this to happen.
Part of your body that is involved with your sense of smell gets irritated. It gets inflamed from the virus. That inflammation causes your sense of smell to be either gone or for you to smell things differently than the way they are supposed to smell.
The symptom isn't common with the Omicron variant, but others are still circulating, so people are finding themselves unable to smell their favorite things, which brings us to smell training.
You'll start with 4 smells. You tend to smell each scent for about 10 to 15 seconds twice a day. And essentially, it should be something that you're familiar with, bourbon or cinnamon or basil or mint, whatever it might be. And that's literally all it is. It's smell the scent and kind of tell yourself what you're smelling. If you have memories of what it smells like, kind of think about that.
Experts describe it as physical therapy for the nose.
You're using the fact that you're smelling that. You're using your memory. You're using the vision. You're using your imagination. And all of that works together to help stimulate the function of that impaired cell. 6 months ago, I was telling patients to try this because it worked for other conditions. Now I could say, try this because we have evidence that it helps for COVID.
Longo says, though, people need to be patient because it takes time. Some could see results in a few weeks. Others, it could take months. Smell training, though, may help the process move quicker.
It's low cost, potential for great benefit, and essentially 0 side effects. So it's something that's easy to do that has proven to have some benefit for the majority of patients.
So this claim is verified as true. According to the experts, yes, smell training works and is recommended for those experiencing this symptom. With your Verify, I'm Jade Cunningham.
Amid the spread of the Omicron variant, the White House recently announced that it's making available 400 million non-surgical N95 masks for free. Verify viewer Susan wants to know if the free N95 masks are available at your local drugstore and how many you can get. So Susan, let's verify. We went to these sources for an answer. According to the White House, free N95 masks will be available at tens of thousands of local pharmacies, as well as at thousands of community health centers across the country. Some regional stores, like Meijer in the Midwest, have confirmed they already have the masks in store, while other major chains, including CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens, say they expect to start giving out masks in the next few weeks. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, there is a limit of 3 free N95 masks per person through this program. Details about how pharmacies will track these masks hasn't been provided just yet. With your Fast Fact, I'm Adiande Till.
Welcome back. Can you believe it's almost February? And I'm going to continue saying February. Anyway, lucky for us and you, we've got some great deals from our friends at Morning Save that just came in at the right time. So check it out. So excited to find out what you have for us today, Steph.
So first up, we've got a 3-pack of Aceri premium knit beanies.
Oh, cute.
I know this deal will include 3 beanies and it's available in 4 color sets. So normally this set is $60, but right now we've got them for only $50.
Yes!
Saving up to 75%. Tori, this next deal is awesome. We've got the Monster Retro Bluetooth speaker with wireless charging. So this deal includes 1 speaker, 1 adapter and 1 aux cable. So you can connect your phone or device using the included stereo cable to listen to music and adjust volume, as well as LED color, radio stations and more using the Monster Zone app. So normally, Tori, this is $200.
Yeah, okay.
But we've got it for our viewers for only $69, which means they are saving 66%. This is the perfect housewarming gift. We've got the Cuisinart Power Advantage 5-speed hand mixer with stainless steel measuring cups.
Love this.
So the deal include 1 hand mixer and 1 set of measuring cups just here. And also, this is Cuisinart.
I was going to say that, right?
You know the stainless steel is going to be super durable, and this is going to be a quality product.
Yeah.
So normally this is as much as $102, but we've got it for $39, which saves everyone at home 62%. We've got the Tambourette Murano glass charm bracelet. So this deal includes 1 bracelet, and we've got 11 styles to pick from.
Nice.
You'll even get a 2-inch extender to fit all sizes.
Oh, that's good.
So handy.
Yeah.
So normally this is as much as $89.
Okay.
We've got it, Tori, for $19.
Oh!
Saving up to 79%.
We got good stuff, good prices. Head on over, y'all, to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. And you can even visit morningsave.com just right on your smartphone. Thank you so much, Steph. Some good stuff. I did want to show this picture. It is Holocaust Remembrance Day. This is the shoes on the Danube River in World War II. Budapest Jews were asked to stand there. Their shoes, take them off, and were shot and killed into the river. The shoes were considered more valuable. Today is a day to remember so we don't dare repeat history and what happened to millions of innocent people. DBL is new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Take care, guys.